Hello and welcome to the Card Deck Creator interview series. Today I'm very blessed to have with me Laura West, who's not only a registered nurse and does all that sort of stuff that I could never do, but a psychic medium, a podcaster and an author. So thank you for joining me, Laura.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Beautiful. Well, I was talking to you before we started recording and you sound amazing. So I'm going to let you do a little introduction to who you are and just share what you're creating, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, yeah, sounds great. So as you had mentioned, I'm a registered nurse. I've been doing that gig for several years now. And I had a spiritual awakening number 2, I call it, where I learned many new things about myself by following my intuition. One of those things was putting the dots together that all of my life experiences have led me to the fact that I am what people know as a psychic medium. It still feels funny saying that, but I think it makes it easier for people to understand. So I do that as well. And with that comes this relationship that I've created with my soul team, more specifically my spirit guides. When I had spiritual awakening number 1 several years ago, when I was in my teenage years, I met my spirit guide, and he has been with me this whole time, along with many others that I've met along the way. And so I really like to work closely with my spirit guide. His name's Jason. And Jason has helped guide me intuitively on so many levels, especially when I started meditating to learn to hone in on my intuition. That's when I really started to communicate with him. And that happened in 2019. So in 2019, I was told I should start meditating. If I wanted to learn to hone in on my intuition. Little did I know what I was asking for when I asked that for help in honing in on my intuition. I thought it was just me learning to listen to my body better with what felt wrong. That was it. I thought intuition was only there to keep us from doing something wrong. And then when I went to visit this psychic, and she told me, well, you need to start meditating. And then that just was like it. I learned then that intuition is so much more than that. It's a spirit language between us and those on our team. Again, more specifically, I'm focusing on spirit guides, but that doesn't at all diminish the relationships that we have with our angels and source ancestors, etc. There's so many out there. We don't put limits on spirit. So that's what happened. I started to follow my intuition. I started to learn to quiet my mind with meditation. And in doing so, it allowed Jason and other guides that I have to come through and connect and communicate with me. And we started to build this relationship. And I've learned what it felt like when they told me to do something, or because I open up to them to guide me, to communicate with me, support me, tell me what it is that I need to do, because I like that they have this infinite knowing and I'm stuck in this human body. So you tell me what to do. I'm very open to that. So I invited that in. And so now when I get an intuitive nudge or I recognize something that is from my guides. So for instance, writing my book, that was because 2 separate people on 2 separate occasions, unrelated to each other, told me that I should write a book of my experiences. And I knew that was a sign. It wasn't intuitive per se, but it became intuitive when I caught on that, okay, they're starting to use people to communicate with me as well. And so that's what led me to write my book. Well, fast forward a little bit. Well, I will say during that book writing process, I did work with a book coach who was amazing. And you kind of go through a lot of brainstorming ideas with what the book is for. What are you going to do with this book? And all the possibilities with this book, whether it's do a workbook with it. Oh, you could create a card deck with it or something like that. And so the wheels already started spinning at that time. But at that time, it was all about just writing the book. Anything extra was just too daunting, too overwhelming. So, the book was written, completed. It got published in October of last year, and kind of just sitting on it a little bit, just kind sitting in that wonderful energy of it just being done, it being out there in the world. My vulnerability is out there now, and just kind of sitting in that energy, letting the book do what it's meant to do. And so until, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, I was just on Instagram and I got another intuitive hit when I saw, Ayesha, that you had posted on there about creating a card deck. I saw it once, I saved the post, and I didn't act on it at that time, but intuitively, since I can recognize it now, I knew that when I came across your post again, that it was time to take action. And so I did. And so I clicked on the link, and I got on, and I followed, your prompts, and I signed up for the that package. We're able to create your own deck. And it just, I mean, you made it so seamless. So it was very easy to do. I don't consider myself very Canva literate. So the way that you had it set up, it was almost foolproof. So I was able to do it. And it just was an amazing process. I was able to do it with my team and my guides. I asked them to help create this deck. And so from that, what we created was, I say we, because me and my guides, we created, and you, Ayesha, in a way, huh? We created a deck called From Your Spirit Guides. So.
Beautiful. I never interrupt. I just let you go on your flow, because it's just so lovely, and your enthusiasm and just the joy that you're bringing to the creative process is so beautiful. So let's have some show and tell. Show us your book first, because I know you've got that there.
I do. Yes, it's called Guided. Don't mind the band. It's just because it was my proofread version.
Yes.
But here it is here. Yeah. So it's called Guided, and it basically it just showcases what a spiritual journey looks like, from my personal experiences. But I also love teaching. I love training. I do that at work. So I feel like it's sort of innate in me to help guide others through their awakenings, through their experiences that perhaps they're like, don't know what's going on with them, and just to show through my own experiences what it looked like for me, whether it's something you can resonate with, whether it's just knowing that, okay, you're not alone, you have had experiences as well. They don't have to look like mine, but just knowing that you aren't alone in what it is that you experience. And I also break down some of the items that were a little bit overwhelming for me. For instance, when I started to dabble a little bit in crystals, I mean, there are so many crystals for so many things, and the same crystal can be used for multiple things. So it was very overwhelming. So I break that down a little bit. I break down protection, the use of a pendulum, so different things, but I showcase their uses from my own journey as well. So that's sort of what inspired the book. And with the book, because I was intuitively guided to write it, my spirit guide Jason did write the foreword of it, because I did write not the first entire draft, but when I first started writing it, I told my guides, I said, hey, you're the ones who wanted me to write this. You're going to help me write this, because it's very overwhelming to be sitting in front of a blank screen, knowing there's a book somewhere in there, but where to start. So I had them help me. So Jason got to write the foreword for the book, which is really exciting.
Now I want to read the foreword. I used to be a book coach, actually, so I totally understand it. I'm working on a few books of my own. I just haven't had time lately, but I want to just congratulate you, because it is a big endeavor. And are you self-publishing that book?
Yes, so it's actually already published.
Yeah,
yes. This is just the version I have.
Yeah, no, yes, I know. Yeah,
I worked with a hybrid publisher, so it's on Amazon.
Yeah, fabulous. Yep. Congratulations. Yeah. And now the companion card deck that you've created.
Yes. Can I please tell why? Okay.
Yes, just go for it.
I know. I feel like I could talk for hours. Okay, thank you. So I also do readings as a psychic medium. I do readings for individuals. I love doing like Facebook Lives, where I do readings in my private group. And I get a lot of people who always ask, one, especially if they're new to their journey, do I have spirit guides? The answer is yes. Everybody has a spirit guide, at least one. two, how do I communicate with my own? Or, I feel like I'm always asking them to show me signs, but nothing. Like I feel like it's just silent. So what my guides and I came up with was a card deck that could be used just like any other card deck, like an oracle card deck, like a tarot card deck, where you shuffle them, you get the energy going, you set the intention out there of whatever I'm intended to know at this time for my highest and best good. Please tell me, that sort of thing. And you can use this deck however you want to, but my guides and I worked on it together. So I channeled the messages that were intended to be on the cards. And what the deck is meant to do, it's called From Your Spirit Guides, and it's meant to allow your guides to use the cards to communicate what they want to you to know either that day, at that moment, that is meant for your highest and best good. So it really kind of takes the guessing work out of what their message is, because it's literally on the card telling you. So now your guides have another tool to use to communicate a message to you, something that they want you to know at that time that is intended for your highest and best good. So
well, I think that a lot of us need that, because we're probably getting the signals, but we're not picking them up, right? So this is that direct link. So would you like to shuffle the cards and maybe select one for everyone who watches this, into any
I would
time?
love to. Yes, absolutely. So this is what I love about those kinds of readings. Sorry about that. What I love about those kinds of readings is that they're timeless, and it's whenever you're intended to hear it. This is what your guide is wanting you to know at that time. So if you catch this, this is the message for you. But you have multiple guides working with you today. So if you are ever curious to know who is there and helping you, well, for today, you've got multiple. So you must either have a lot going on, or we just have multiple guides helping us all the time, because guides help us for so many different reasons. We have a spirit guide who's with us for sort of the entirety of our existence, really. One or two, maybe more. And then we have other guides that just come and go depending on what it is that we're doing. I'm sure I had a card making guide when the time came that helped me and Jason. And then I also have a guide, for instance, who, if I need to persevere through something, I have a guide who helps me through that. So it's not always like the things that we do, but it could be guides for our emotional support, or to celebrate with us, or anything like that as well. So in this case, multiple guides working with you. So how about that? Such support.
I love
Wonderful.
that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I'd like to ask, like, with your cards, so you've got just a very muted palette, like, and the same image. So, like, what was your decision making like?
Yeah, so I wanted something that wasn't too distracting, that had a bit of an ethereal feel to it, and that I felt was pretty and delicate.
Yes.
And so I went with this design on, I think it was Unsplash. I found it on Unsplash.
Is that
they have
on
a lot
both
of great...
the back and the front?
It's on both the back and the front. Yep, exactly. So I just make it simple, and I wanted to make it so that it's easy to read the words. I didn't want the background to be too distracting. Unlike tarot or even some oracle cards, the image isn't, I mean, you can interpret if you need to, of course, because they're like little feathers. So if that's a message for you, absolutely. But it wasn't my intention with this deck to make it so that the image itself was interpreted, but more so that it's just a straight answer, because we're always trying to interpret our messages from our guides. So why would I make a card where you also had to interpret the message?
We're getting rid of the ambiguity, right? And on the front of your cards, do you have your name down the bottom? Is that what I saw?
I do. I have my website. It's on the front cover, and then just on the first two. So
you've got the instruction intro couple of cards that I suggest to people. because if you're not going to do a booklet, and I see you don't have a box as well, so it's just a nice way. So and you chose the velvet bag. I love the velvet bag.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want this to cost an arm and a leg for people,
and
but
the box
still pretty.
just ridiculous. Yeah.
It's like opens. But I, I just a nice place to keep them all together, because not everybody likes the 52 card pickup game. So that way it's all together. and it's just a nice, pretty bag. So that's what I picked, which I really, really like.
And have you been using them, like if you're doing your online readings on social media, have you been using the cards in that?
Yeah. So when I shared that the cards were available on the marketplace, people did ask for a card pull. So I did it for them in the post. And I do a card pull for my podcast every week. I send out a newsletter for those on my email list. And I also do a card pull for them as well from the deck. So
it's nice. You've got this suite of products. You've got your readings, you've got your book, you've got the cards. And you sound like you still love nursing, like the education aspects that you're doing. So are you planning to just sort of, keep them both running, or are you wanting to transition full-time into your own business?
No, as of right now, I'm able to balance both. So that feels really good. It feels really good to sort of be in a job that keeps me very grounded, but then also be able to have the balance of exactly. And not that I don't include my spirituality in my work. I definitely do, but it's not as out there as
I think we'd all love a nurse like you.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Can you imagine how wonderful it would be to have hospitals full of Lauras?
Oh my goodness, you're so sweet.
And then just on a final note, what, from your learning experience of making the cards, what would you share with other card deck creators who haven't started yet?
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is my one and only deck I've created so far, and I used your step-by-step guide. It was just so easy. I love that you had templates already created. That's what I used, because otherwise, we do it all in Canva, which is great because I use Canva for other things, but I'm not very, like, I just recently purchased the premium and I've been using Canva for a few years for very basic things. And so I wouldn't consider myself Canva literate. So to then create a deck on Canva with your help, with the guides that you gave, it just really made it simple. I think I started this deck and completed it within a few days. That's how quick it was, for multiple reasons, but one being that you have it step by step. It's very foolproof. I mean, I can do it. Anybody can do it. I think it's a great way to do it, because then from there I use the Make Playing Cards app site, and from there I'm selling my cards. I didn't have to create like something new or anything like that. It's just then it created a marketplace there, and they gave me a URL link that I can share with people. And I don't know, it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. So I was very pleasantly surprised that I was able to get this started and done within a few days. So
fabulous. Well, I wish you all the best. I'm so excited. I'll get all the links and pop them below the interview for your podcast, your social media group, your socials, everything. We'll share everything.
Thank you.
And I just want to say congratulations on the book as well, because we know that's a big endeavor, and I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to keep seeing what you create next.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and for making this program so simple. It was able to allow me to fulfill what I was hoping to. So thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited. I hope you enjoyed that. Wasn't it interesting? And I hope you got some inspiration and some tips from listening to this. So if you're interested in making your own card deck, I invite you to check out the Card Deck Creators Toolkit that I've created for people like you who want to create their own inspirational, affirmation, or oracle card deck. There's so many different card decks that you can create. So I invite you to check out the links below to get the toolkit and get on your way creating. And if you've already created your own card deck, congratulations. Share a link below. I'd love to see it. Much love to you and take care.